Hello. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me okay? I've been having mic issues today. Hi. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. I'm okay. It's been an interesting week, I would say. Loud and clear. Perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know because I've been struggling with this mic today. I couldn't get it to connect to my computer for some reason. How was everyone's Blitz week? That's what I'm super curious about because I want to kind of take a deep dive and speculate a little bit. Vadim kind of working hard. Hello. Trucking talk, yes. Trucking talk. Always trucking. No issues on Blitz week. Oh no, I'm on week 14 with truck in the shop. Yikes. Yeah, we had one of our Freightliners. It's actually amazing. It hit 400,000 miles. That's it. The radiator went to crap, so we had to change that. That came out to about $5,000. Ugh. I was out and ready, but never stopped for an inspection. Got it. You know what? I'm hearing a lot of that. That people expected a little bit more from Blitz Week, like everyone would be stopped, but we also did not get inspected, which was really, really interesting. Didn't notice a difference in terms of the roadside inspections or in terms of the market. None for me either. Oh my God, that is insane. I'm back from my truck getting repaired from a deer hit. Yeah, I saw your saw your comment. I love that. Only saw Flagstaff, Arizona working the Blitz. Funny enough, we were passing. One of my trucks was passing Flagstaff, Arizona, although that was on Monday. It wasn't on Tuesday. Yeah. Got on the road at 5 a.m. this morning, making one delivery and then hammering it out with the rest of the week in Virginia and West Virginia. Got it. Hi. Yeah, I mean, I kind of I feel like I was doing so well with releasing videos. And then last week, it's like there was nothing, really nothing to expand on in terms of news. Blitz week is always overrated. Yeah, I want to share with you guys what I read. So you didn't notice a change in the market. Got it. I noticed a big change in the market. See, everyone, I guess it depends where you are because, like I said, we started off in Arizona and it was a damn disaster, but that's only because we're very particular about where we go. And out of Arizona, you can definitely go to places like Colorado, Washington, Oregon, like the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest, but nothing going to the Midwest or South or East Coast that pays decent. But I definitely noticed a difference, and I'd love to share it with you guys. And I want to share with you what I read. Oops, I skipped. Sorry. Went very well. Company score is good, and zoomed by all the weight stations. Got it. Awesome. Uh, Worth getting a CDL at 19. Are you asking if it's worth it getting a CDL at 19? I think having a CDL, and I mean, if you start at 19, it's just going to make it easier for you in the future. If you let it age, the older the CDL is, the easier it is to get insurance. Have a 2024 Cascadia. Truck is great, except I do not like the optimized idle. Never works like it's supposed to. Got it. Month of that was trying to fix the ABS light. We had some ABS light issue too. Um, so before I continue, I just want to let you know what I read, and I'm just curious to. It's like one person said that they did not notice any difference in the market. I did. I definitely did. A very big difference in the market in terms of rates and in terms of on truck stop. You can see how many people view a load. Like those views just went to crap. There was almost nothing. Um, I experienced a rise in rates like crazy. Minimum lanes that we often run were increased by $300 to $600 for that week. The rates we were booking this the second half of last week were insane, but that's because we ended up in a pretty decent area for flatbeds. And then after I made my market update, someone said that freight brokers took their grievances to Reddit to talk about Blitz Week. And yeah, sure as hell, brokers were freaking out. They said that this is the worst Blitz Week they have seen. I guess a lot of capacity left. And I'm just wondering, I mean, again, I saw different comments. Some people say the market is still crap and they did not see any change during Blitz Week. I'm curious where you guys were running if you did not see any change and what equipment type. And those of you that did see a change, where were you running? um, I saw more DOT through Indiana and Ohio this morning than I did all last week during Blitz Week. Well, they do say that real Blitz Week starts 1 week after the scheduled one. Rates were the same compared to previous years because too many trucks on the road and competition was still high. Got it. I wonder if it was just flatbeds, maybe? Like, I don't know. And not in all areas. I do agree with that. But in certain areas where there usually historically more loads, yeah, it was different. You're on a dry van. Got it. Yeah, dry vans are having a very, very hard time right now. So are reefers. Yikes. California reefer rates seem slightly up. I think they'll still continue going up a little bit for produce season. I heard someone say that this is going to be the year where produce season is actually produce season. So fingers crossed. None of my trucks saw much of inspections going on driving from California to Texas. Got it. Yeah, we didn't see any either. And we were driving from Arizona to the south to the Midwest, from the Midwest to the what is called plain states, nothing. Volumes were so high in Houston. Yeah, in Houston and Dallas and Arkansas. Yikes. My buddy runs Pacific Northwest and it is killing it in a reefer. That's amazing. That's I think you meant to say black hole, the Northwest. Yes, get now CDL. Yeah, it's good to let it age. Thank you only Alex for your support. Thank you. I appreciate it. I always try. Try my darndest. Oops. Yes, I'm asking if it's worth getting a seat. Yeah, yeah, it is. It is worth getting because it only gets better with time if you keep it clean. It's easier to work later on. First of all, if you're looking to be a company driver, more people will hire you, not just this big mega carriers who are going to give you pennies to work. Normal carriers are going to give you work because it's not going to be such a ding on their insurance. And if you're looking to open your own MC later on or DOT, insurance is going to be cheaper the older your CDL is. Big state of the company meeting tomorrow. Mandatory attendance supposedly going to stop using outside contractors. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I didn't hear anything about that. Contractors wanting more money. I have no idea. I was kind of under a rock this week, if you guys haven't noticed. Yeah, a little bit. I was really honing in on Blitz Week and just it's a lot happening last week. I heard that some people are expecting a freight wave since a deal was made. What do you think? Oh, you mean the tariffs? Okay, so this is actually a very interesting topic, and I wanted to talk about it as well today. So we know that when the tariffs were initially I think that's what you're talking about. When the tariffs were initially put on China, what happened was a lot of people freaked out and the volume from China kind of stopped. Now, with this 90-day pause, there are two schools of thought. One school of thought says that there's going to be a surge in orders, which I believe they are seeing, and they're correct. It turns out there's going to be a surge in orders before that 90-day mark. You know, they're trying to get all the product in. And if that happens, the volumes are going to go up. And for about 2 weeks to a month, there's going to be extra volume, which should potentially translate to higher rates for that short period of time. The question everyone has is what's going to happen after the 90-day period. Now, my father, he used to be an importer, a pretty big importer. And he said that it depends on the mentality of the importer. Some importers will use that as a 90, like that 90-day window. They'll use it to import as much as possible. But there's always going to be a group that's going to question, like, what happens if the ship does not arrive before those 90 days are up? What happens to the product? What kind of, what do I need to pay? So two schools of thought, but it looks like from what I have seen is that, yes, there is a surge right now while that 90-day window is open. But the question on everyone's mind is what is going to happen after those 90 days? Uh, okay, I answered that one. I'm not sure. I think everyone wants more money. PA loads were canceling left and right. You know what? It's funny. I actually have the same experience in the East Coast or in the Southeast, like Georgia, North Carolina. There are a lot of cancellations. You come to pick up a load and it's either someone else picked it up or it gets canceled at the last minute. It's interesting. It was great for dry vans this week. That's amazing. See, there are so many different opinions about how it's going, like how last week went. Now, my question for you guys is what do you think will happen next week? I had one broker call me on a lane that he was paying. I don't remember what he was paying that lane. I think it was 1800 last week. And he called me. He's like, I have that same lane, but for $400 less. Are you going to take it? I'm like, no, we're not even in that area next week. But it's interesting because on one hand, it's like, okay, he's expecting capacity to increase next week. That's why he's offering $400 less. But on the other hand, why is he calling so far in advance to get it covered? So what do you guys think will happen next week? Do you think capacity will go back to normal? All those people who left are going to come back in? I saw a Georgia, New Jersey reefer team for 6,000. Georgia to New Jersey, 6,000. Oh my God. That's pretty good. Everyone is lucky to even have loads. Coast parts are dead. No work for 2 weeks. Yeah, West Coast is pretty bad for every equipment type, which is surprising. I'm sure California is going to get better for reefers in a little bit because of produce. And the weather seems to be okay here from what I see. And then Washington should pick up a little bit, but it surprises me that Washington and Oregon are so dead for reefers. Except California produce rates fly up after June 25th. Yeah, I'm expecting that California rates for reefers are going to go up. He hauls 3-axle reefers, so maybe that more of a demand or preferable in the Northwest. Got it. Less than truckload kind of flat last week. I read something about, oh my God, I don't even remember. I saw a headline, something about less than truckload, and I don't believe it was really good. So yeah. Yep, I answered my opinion about tariffs as well as other people's opinion. Yeah, I think that, not I think, it looks like there is a surge of orders right now, taking advantage of that 90-day window. They focus as usual on the wrong stuff. What do you expect from government agencies? Hello. Covenant was pulling us as loads for less than $2 per mile. Lease drivers were getting a 163 to the truck. I'm wondering what that meeting is about. I mean, I'm wondering what comes out of it. $5,000 for a radiator. Is your Freightliner made of gold? No, $5,000 was the part as well as the what is it called? The labor, but it also included one more thing. I forgot what it's called. The radiator was the big one. The radiator cost us a little bit less than $2,000, the part itself. But the labor was more because we also had some issue with how, I don't know. I don't know enough about trucks. Basically, our consumption was really, really bad and they fixed it. That's the easy way of saying it. It's funny. I've been in trucking for such a long while, in my opinion, but I don't know if you tell me like, this is the truck. What, when you point at something, what is this? I will not know. Yeah. Where is the one? I get this question a lot for some reason. That thing, the plaque, is with my son. I promised it to him when we were nearing 100,000 subscribers, and now he took it, he ran with it, and I have no idea where it is. So he's keeping it for himself. um, don't y'all agree that brokers and dispatchers based outside of the state should be banned? I think that English language, and I get a lot of, it's interesting. Since I started making videos about English language proficiency, I always try to remain neutral, but at the same time, there's like, I don't see the point of hiding it. I think that when you are in the trucking industry, someone who is driving, you do need to be able to understand road signs. You do need to be able to understand officers. I do believe that this is a safety thing. In terms of brokers and dispatchers outside the US, I don't really have, to be quite honest, I don't have an opinion on that because that, I mean, as much as it's a safety issue when you're driving and you see like for example, you see some sign and you can't read it, that's a matter of safety. For dispatchers and brokers, I mean, yeah, no, English language proficiency is still important for load details, I suppose, but I don't really have much of an opinion on that. I am curious what is going to happen on June 25th, though. You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious how they're going to implement it. Like, what is it going to look like? The fact that it's going back on the out of service criteria, okay, we all know that. But what does that look like? What does the testing look like? What happens to the person when they are put out of service? How do they get back into service? Like, that's the thing that is curious to me. Just kick out the B1 doing cabotage and rates will go up. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, unfortunately. A lot of folks are running B1 visa holders throughout the United States, which is not legal. Began my MC in November, and every week I gross 6 to 7K running legally. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, yeah. Especially getting an MC in November. I wonder if brokers are going to, like, the things I wonder is, okay, brokers are, I'm seeing more and more of brokers requiring to speak to the driver before they send you the rate confirmation to ensure there's English language proficiency. I wonder if as capacity kind of becomes less available, will brokers start using newer MC numbers? Like, those are the things I'm very curious about. Yeah. Thank you, Gilberto. Best use of the 75-inch TV in my living room is streaming a TMS live chat. Thank you so much for your support. I also, I mean, I think I love these chats. Although I don't know if I'd ever stream it on a large TV, but I do love these chats because I learn from you guys. Sorry, let me find where I was. Okay, tariffs. Okay, we talked about that. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm wondering if brokers are going to become more lenient with their requirements if capacity starts decreasing. I think so. I think so. Freightwaves magazine article by Adam. The CDL system is broken. On my channel, Trucker Steve CDL instructor. I believe the training school system is broken. Accidents are more. Yeah, I think that a lot of training schools are broken because a lot of them cheat. I have seen they had a couple of articles about the CDL issues on Freightwaves. Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans going on for sure. I was on a cruise in the Caribbean all week with my wife and kids, coincidentally. That is amazing. I hope you had a fantastic time. Middle of June will be when most China ships get back to Cali parts, right around same time English proficiency test coming in. Yeah, so that is very, very interesting. I wonder what will happen because theoretically, I mean, again, nothing ever happens the way you theorize it will, but theoretically, what should happen is volumes increase and capacity starts going down. By how much, no one knows, but that should drive up rates. But again, it's a big question mark. What will actually happen? That is a loud plane. um, What do you think about starting a dispatch company in this situation? I think, well, to be quite honest with you, I think the competition is fierce for sure, because not only do you have a lot of dispatchers in the market right now, but you also have a lot of carriers who, or owner operators, whoever, they don't have enough. They're trying to kind of save every penny, right? So if you want to stand out as a dispatching service, you have to be able to provide something extra. You have to basically really make your client's life easier. This is very, very important. So yeah, I'm never of the opinion, competition never scared me personally, because I was always of the opinion that if I offer something that might be already in the market, and this doesn't really, well, it kind of has to do with trucking as well, but it's just in general. If I offer something that's already in the market, but I do it better, I'm going to be fine. This is like my opinion. That's my thought process. Uh, we need to revoke all non-domiciled CDLs to boost marketing rates. So I don't know about revoking, but it shocked me the amount of non-domiciled CDLs that were issued. 40%, as far as I remember, 40% of the CDLs issued in Illinois were non-domiciled. It is insane to me. It's just the numbers are crazy. You remind me of my auntie a lot. I hope that's a good thing. I hope she was. Oh, yeah, it is. My heart always melts when I see your vlogs. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Um, how do you feel about English proficiency requirement? Yeah, obviously, I'm very behind on the comments. I do apologize. Yeah, I think that English proficiency, when you are behind the wheel, I think it is a safety thing. I don't think, I mean, I'm not the kind of person who's going to say you have to speak absolutely perfect English, perfect grammar, no accent, whatnot. I have an accent, for crying out loud, and English is my first language, unlike what some people think. English is my first language. It always has been, but I have an accent. So, but the folks who drive the semi trucks, they need to be able to understand road signs. My goodness, they need to be able to speak with the officer. I do believe that is something that is important for safety. Absolutely. Is your son the one who keeps deleting my comments thinking I have no idea. I don't know. I never delete comments unless someone meant, I mean, everyone knows when I delete comments. I don't know. If someone mentions OnlyFans, they're banned from this channel. It's just a trigger thing for me. But yeah, I don't know. My son does not delete comments. I don't think so. He does sometimes watch my videos though. Mm. There are just a lot of folks in general who speak um, limited English or no English sometimes. Yeah. I saw a guy, I saw a video somewhere of this guy saying our driver got a violation for English proficiency because he was asked something about, can you show me your I don't know if he was joking, something about, can you show me your documents or something that is normally asked during an inspection. And the guy answered that London is part of England, something like that. Like I mean, that is a problem. I'm sorry. I have seen a lot of trucks go up for sale lately. Yeah, uh, I think there are a lot of things at play. Speaking of trucks, um, trucks and selling and everything, I was wondering because what I have seen, I was like reading Reddit nonstop at the end of last week just to see what people are saying, especially freight brokers, about Blitz Week. And after I read all of that, I started wondering why are they all they were freaking out, like really freaking out. And it made me wonder what happened this time around that drove more capacity out. And I believe it was more, at least according to what people were saying. And I think it's one of three possibilities. Either it's because people have been in this for 3 years and they no longer have enough money to maintain their truck to the point where it's going to pass an inspection during Blitz Week where there's so much scrutiny, or it was the English proficiency requirement fear. A lot of people believe that they are going to get tested for English proficiency and that would be an out of service order or a violation. It was a violation. It's not an out of service order yet, and that kept them at home. Or it's the fact that the focus was on hours of service, and we all know that there are some carriers who do not follow that. I don't know what it was that caused so much capacity to leave, but from what I read and from what I saw personally, yeah, it was different than Blitz Week last year. Fuel consumption is bad. Your air-to-air radiator is blown, so most likely both radiator. I have no idea. Something or Arthur. I don't know. Something. It was. I know that it was $5,000, and I know that now the consumption is perfect. There's been shenanigans in the industry for years. It only morphs and changes as to what individuals figure out how to manipulate regs. Yeah, I think I think there are shenanigans in every industry. I think it just right now it came to a head because everyone is so tired. I mean, to be fair, everyone who's in the trucking industry, whether you're still in it or whether you're recently left or whatnot, they have been struggling for over 3 years now with crap. And yeah, everyone is tired. And I think there's a lot of pressure. And that pressure is causing things to come out. But yeah, I agree that it's always been there. I know you said you don't have an opinion on dispatchers, but think about this. Foreign dispatchers encourage foreign drivers. Even though their English isn't 100%, they book loads for drivers with 2% English. I think that is, I understand what you're saying, and theoretically, it makes complete sense. I don't think that's always true. I think many folks use foreign dispatchers. Again, I'm not going to say what I think in terms of whether they should or shouldn't. Everyone's business model is different, and I will never presume to tell someone how they should run their business. I have enough problems of my own. Um, Personally, I would never hire a dispatcher, but that's because I am the dispatcher in my own company, right? So I do everything back office, dispatching back office, keeping everything in compliance, et cetera, et cetera. That's on me. But that's because I can't delegate. I can't judge people who are not able to currently dispatch themselves and want to save on dispatching. The thing with those foreign dispatchers is that they charge, from what I have heard, 2%, 2 to 5% or so, usually 2 to 3%. And I think people go after the foreign dispatchers because they want to save money and they don't have time or they don't have the resources, or maybe they don't know how to dispatch themselves. Yeah. Hi, Eli. Eli or Ellie? No matter. Hi. Shalom. I got my FMCSA MCS 150 hacked. Yikes. Yeah, there's a lot of like messiness going on. I mean, it has been going on for years. There's so much crap right now. I didn't have information about tariffs. Could you tell me about it? Yeah, absolutely. So, what I said about tariffs was that there are two schools of thought. And since there is a 90-day pause, one school of thought said that it's going to cause I think it's called front loading. I forgot. Basically, they're ordering a lot right now in order to make it before that 90 days expires. My father, like I said, he was a big importer, and he said there are going to be different people doing different things. Some importers will say, no, we have to wait to see what happens because they're afraid that by the time the ship comes in with the goods, the 90-day expires, and then they're kind of not sure what is going to happen. But it seems from the data, what is happening is there is a lot of that uh, buying surge, ordering surge, because people are trying to get the product in before that 90-day expires, and no one knows what is going to happen after those 90 days. But for now, there is a lot of imports. So there is theory that if, like someone said absolutely correctly, those ships are coming around June. So that means there's going to be theoretically an increase in volume, but at the same time, June 25th is when English proficiency becomes an out of service order. So what happens is capacity theoretically will decrease while volumes increase, and that will increase rates. But again, theory is always very different than reality. So I don't know. um, I have seen that rates are increasing slowly. I don't see, I mean, apart from last week, it's been a struggle with flatbeds, in my opinion. Again, everyone has it. I mean, it depends on where you run, right? But for flatbeds, it's been a pretty gnarly struggle week after week until last week, midweek, when we ended up in the South and the Midwest. Then it became amazing. What is the price for a rented flatbed and which company rents them? We rent ours from TNT Sales in Villa Ridge, Missouri. And the price is right. We pay 1,100 for ours. But depends on what kind you get. We have 53-foot flatbeds. Which trucking software is good? So I use different ones. I'm currently in the process of creating something else that is going to be amazing, in my opinion. The thing that I mean, I have been struggling as someone who manages the back office and who does all of that, the dispatching, the back office, the management. I basically decided to create something that I was missing in every single software um, that I saw, and I put it all into one. I'm just working on coding it, like finishing up coding it. So, but in general, before that, before I created my own, pretty much, I used Airtable, which I still use to manage like expenses. I use QuickBooks for accounting. Um, yeah, sorry guys. Yikes. Uh, no, go away. Um, I'm a hermit. If you are a carrier driver, do not give a copy of your driver's license to a broker. Yeah, that's good advice. I haven't seen brokers require anything crazy lately, which is interesting. There used to be times when they would require some crazy things. Take a photo, like the craziest we had is tell your driver to take a selfie of himself while holding a CDL. I believe brokers are responsible for not booking loads with out of service companies or brokers. Essentially, they're responsible for knowing drivers need to be legal. Ignoring leaves them open. Yeah, I think brokers don't care. Really, I think brokers don't care. For them, the priority is how much money do they make. So, and the reason I think so is because I have seen brokers talking about it on Reddit. Yeah. So they don't really care. Some of them, some of them are better than others. Again, I have seen more and more brokers ask for English proficiency, but not last week. Last week, when capacity for them was very tight in the areas we were in, no one cared about English proficiency. No one cared about anything. Yeah, it was very easy to get set up with new brokers. Negotiation was a breeze. It was fantastic. So I answered this question already. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for joining. Out of service drivers, yeah. What's the carrier's biggest wish other than good rates, like in terms of working with one broker or another? I think every carrier ideally wants to work with direct shippers and cut out the middleman. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to answer this question. Yes, ideally, every carrier's big dream is rates, of course, but also having their own customers. So, yeah, but speaking of middleman, there is a new thing that's going on with highway. I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but I have. I booked a load with a broker we have been working with for 2.5 years, pretty much consistently. And they just switched to highway. Yeah, they just switched to highway. So we got set up with them via highway. And as my one of my drivers was going to pick up a load, highway calls me to start confirming driver information and truck number and all of that. I'm like, since when is this happening? And they're like, oh, well, we're the middleman between you and the broker. I'm like, holy crap. So now we have broker is the middleman between the shipper and the carrier. Dispatcher is the middleman between the carrier and the broker. And now we have another entity that is the middleman between the dispatcher and the broker. It's insanity. Too much, too much. They need to add CDL curriculum to people with regular license. I think what they really need to do is to make the criteria for getting CDL the same everywhere. I think that is the most important thing, like the testing. I seen a drink machine yesterday. Mountain Dew was $4. Yeah. Okay, since you said only pans instead of only fans, I'm going to let it slip. They drive till they get caught. I heard that a lot of folks right now are driving until their registration expires. Yeah. I don't have an accent. I haven't accent. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Um, Perfect. I can't understand if Uber Freight actually successful or not. Like, what's their added value? I don't know. I have a very, very bad view of Uber Freight personally. I used to work with them a lot in the beginning when we were just starting, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Uber Freight at all. I'm not a fan of the don't speak to anyone, just bid on a load brokerages. Uh, I like to speak to people. Personally, I prefer to speak to a broker because even though sometimes you get someone who's not that friendly and it's just a mess, like I had one guy who called me on Friday. I called him about a load. He didn't pick up. So I ended up booking another better load. Thank God it was better. But he called me after I booked the load and he's like, do you still have this truck? I'm like, no, I covered it. It was like 20 minutes ago that I called you. And he's like, A. Like those people, eh? But in general, I like talking to people because I don't know. I think it's easier to negotiate that way. Yeah. How long does it take to reinstate MC? I'm currently on month 2. That is a good question. I don't know from the top of my head, but I am sure that on the FMCSA they have some timeline of how long it takes. Okay, so I answered that question. They're not going to enforce the English language requirement. The government is the one that opened the floodgates for foreign drivers to enter the workforce. I don't agree with you. I think they will enforce the English language requirement. And if they don't, brokers will. Yeah. I think that it's not the broker that cares, it's the shipper. And the shipper is basing it off of the fear that what if this truck that is driven by someone who does not speak proficient English. Although what is proficiency? That is a big question that I have. What if this truck with my product gets an out of service order? I don't want to risk it. That's how it gets enforced. Um, anyway. Planning on getting my CDL again first of next year and trying to decide on whether to do independent contractor through a trucking company or get my own MC. I always, at least from the market that has been for the past 3+ years, I always recommend start with someone who has an aged MC, because at least that guarantees you loads. When you have a new MC, currently brokers are still very iffy about newer MCs. So always try to start, if possible, with a good carrier, an honest carrier, working under their MC, because at least that guarantees you the loads. But always have your own trucks. I don't like the lease purchase crap. A broker that quadrupled the load used my driver's license and the paper form to change my authority information. So if I'm CSA, change my phone number, email. Oh my God. That is scary. Yikes. You remind me of a supermodel I used to date. I'm definitely not a supermodel, but thank you. Foreign drivers represent cheap labor. This is the goal of the big operations. They lobbied for this. I think, well, I mean, I can understand where that comes from. I think that is not always accurate. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's always accurate that foreign drivers always represent cheap labor, because I know for a fact I have an acquaintance in the trucking industry, and the amount he pays his team members is insane for the market conditions. They got smart and figured out people stop their trucks on Blitz week and they have inspections prior and after. Yeah. Got out of the scrap 18 months ago, living on my sailboat, summer cabin water. Good seeing you. Love it. Good seeing you. Okay, I think I said Ellie. I think that's the correct one. Sorry, guys, I'm so behind my comments. I do apologize. I'm usually much better than this, but clearly not today. Nothing beats a person calling you at 3 a.m. from TQL from a faraway land just to get upset because you can't understand them. 100%. I do not work with TQL, not because of that, but they are, yeah, they're blocked on every single phone I have. I have 2 phones and they're blocked everywhere, every number. Although sometimes, I don't know how, but they use a different number to call me and it's TQL, or at least they say they're TQL. I block that one too. There's no way they'll, no. Most likely the best reason using foreign dispatch is driver doesn't speak good English or they're charging cheaper rates than people in the US. Yeah, I think it's the charging rates, cheaper rates than people in the US. Yeah. You want the Samsara software? No, I always use my own TMS. Right now I built, sorry, that was my Diet Coke. Right now I completely coded my own. It's not quite a transportation management system. It's just an amazing management thing. But I have built my own in-air Airtable as well. I like when things are the way I want them to be. I'm a control freak. So yeah. Do you dabble with Bitcoin? No, I tried. I don't remember how much I bought, like $10 worth of Bitcoin, and I haven't looked at it since. That, yeah, that's not my cryptocurrency, and just the stock market in general. Definitely not my strong suit. Who do you use for the drug test consortium? DISA, DISA. Yes. Okay, I'm going to skip that one for now. Okay, never mind. I have 3 years of experience in dispatching, been out of business for almost 1 year. Is it worth jumping back in now? If you can provide, again, I am the kind of person, I don't care about the competition. I care about what I'm doing. And if I feel like I'm providing a better service or a better product, then the competition around me, no matter how bad that competition is, I feel like it's worth a shot. But that's me. Some people say, oh, no, it's oversaturated. So this is not the place to go. So it depends on your mentality. Always focus on quality of your product or service that you're providing, if you ask me. Thank you. Hi, Germany. Uh, Hi, y'all. Can a girl get in the chit chat? Everyone's welcome, always. Currently, I'm working with Prime Inc. as owner operator with a 1 year MC, but I think it's time to move on and dispatch myself using Amazon or just DAT. What would you recommend? Amazon, I have never worked with because from what I hear and what I have seen when I tried, when I set up with them, we never hauled a load for them. They have really bad rates there. But yes, I always recommend if you are able to dispatch yourself, if you know the market or if you're a quick learner and it's comfortable for you to do that, go for it. I'm all for this is one of my biggest flaws as well. Don't get me wrong, but I'm all for delegating as little as possible. That's me. Hi, where are you from originally? I'm half Ukrainian, half Georgian. Yeah. Born in Mariupol. If you don't get rid of brokers, you won't survive. I don't understand why you allow brokers to exist. Who allows brokers to exist? That's what the market dictates. That's why they exist. I never understood that. I know that you're not saying me, but when you're saying you allow brokers to exist, it's the market, right? In order for them no longer to be such a big influence in the market, people have to find direct customers, and direct customers have to agree to work with carriers directly. Not all of them agree. Some of them want to work with brokers like TQL because they don't want to have to receive invoices from 10,000 carriers. They would rather receive an invoice from one broker and pay that one broker who then distributes everything. It's not that simple, but I understand the sentiment. I understand the sentiment for sure. A lot of people are sick and tired. Again, that's why I said one of the biggest dreams for pretty much every carrier is to have their own direct customers. And that would be the ideal. That would be the ideal. Which insurance company do you recommend to activate my MC authority? Well, we're with Benchmark. We have been for a while. But to activate, I don't know if they accept new no, MC numbers, I don't know. But if I don't know how old your CDL is. They require, I believe, 2 to 3 years of a CDL. We started off with Trisura, but they're also either they're out already or they no longer accept new CDL holders. But yeah, we're with Benchmark. Have you got the load pay account requirement that's being pushed through Highway? Once you set it up, you use Triumph Pay. All Triumph Pay has to go through them now. No, I have not. I haven't seen that yet. I'm sure I will. Thank you for the heads up. Hi, Trey. We will not use Highway. Yeah, a lot of people don't like them for good reason. Do you think Texas is going to take a hit on capacity since so many of the companies out of Texas hire B1 drivers to do interstate loads? In other words, cabotage. Yeah, I think so. If it's enforced to the level that I think it will be, or yeah, I think so. I think Texas, I think in general, capacity is going to decrease starting June 25th. Regardless of if every state enforces it the same or not, I think that the brokers and the shippers are going to be enforcing it. Again, I told you guys the story of how This was the first time it happened, and since then it happened quite a few times where a broker would not send me a rate confirmation until they confirmed with my driver that they speak English. And it's not like, I know some people said, well, it's very easy. You give the phone number of someone who speaks English and then you're golden. No, because they send the macro point to that same phone number. Yeah. Uh, trucking industry needs to get rid of broke companies that are operating with their barely illegal DOT equipment. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that right now. A lot of trucks out there are not quite legal, and I think it has to do with the fact that some people just don't have the money to maintain their trucks, and they're holding on like with everything they've got. Yeah. Um, let's talk about the over-under odds on when the autonomous company Aurora gets a multi-million lawsuit for self-driving truck accidents. I say this here for sure. Yeah, I think self-driving trucks were nowhere near. Like, I know technology is like crazy, but considering how damn regulated this damned industry is, and like all of these regulations for drivers and this and that, I don't understand how these self-driving trucks even got a shot, you know? I'm sorry. But yeah, I think we're not ready for autonomous trucks yet. Um, Uber Freight rejected me because of their fruity agent looked me up on Facebook and saw that I was a Trump supporter. Really? Wait, did they tell you that they actually did that? Yikes. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Uber. Again, I'm not a fan of any brokerage that uses a bidding system where you can't talk to people. I prefer to talk to people. Hi, Miranda. Do you see yourself ever going with contract work? Northern Nevada is seeing a boom with Tahoe Reno Industrial Complex development. It appears a lot of flatbed work. Yes, absolutely. I do see myself doing contract for sure. I'm just not there yet, but yeah, 100%. um, okay, I answered that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit delayed with the comments. Not a little bit. I'm a lot delayed with the comments. I do apologize. Um, what's the difference between DOT and US DOT? If I want to, which one do I? They're the same. DOT and US DOT are the same thing. You should have on your truck US DOT with your number. If you want to cross state lines, that's an MC number, motor carrier number. Um, following your answer about carriers wanting to work directly with shippers, is it like the steady pipeline, not paying the middleman, or both? It's not about that. I mean, it's steadiness, right? A little bit more predictability. And of course, the money aspect. The middleman is always going to take their cut, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the market. But yeah, the carriers want direct shippers. They want that transparency as well. I think transparency is the key word. Do the shippers realize how little these brokers care about their cargo and how unreliable they are outside of business hours? I think a lot of them, I think, I think they weigh the pros and cons, especially the big shippers. They weigh the pros and cons. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't even know if they're completely aware of the situation in the trucking industry right now. Mm. I drive for a company as a driver. Out of 40 trucks and drivers, they lay off 20 of them and 20 trucks on leases because the market is not profitable since January 7th. Yeah, I heard an even worse situation, and it had nothing to do with not profitable, but I feel compelled to share it with you guys. I heard from a friend who has a friend who has 100 trucks or so. I mean, a little bit over 100 trucks. 92 of those trucks are operated by drivers who know no English at all, and he doesn't know what to do. Like, that is I don't know. That is so stressful. Yikes. It's going to be a lot happening. Um, Safety isn't up for options. All you that have lemons, you need to be shut down and find so much you restart back up anymore. You can't restart back up anymore. Got it. Um, all right. I'm so sorry, guys. Today, I didn't realize that there are going to be so many folks. I thought Sunday everyone sleeps. I have about 5 more minutes, six. But let me answer some questions that I haven't answered yet, if you guys don't mind. Talking to brokers is way more efficient than email. Dispatcher has to ask questions based on answers they have given. Anyone using a foreign dispatcher is nuts. Yeah, no, absolutely. And talking to brokers is so important because it's not just about like asking follow-up questions. It's also about the fact that you can feel where a person's head. I don't know, at least I'm sure everyone can feel it. I can tell right away where a broker is in terms of headspace. Is he open to negotiating? Do I need to cut it short? Can I apply to appeal to his better nature? I've had a broker that we found common ground on animals. We were like obsessing over animals for the first 3 minutes of our conversation before we even talked about the load because she said that she mentioned something about her pet being somewhere near her. I believe in that old school talk about nothing for the first 1 to 3 minutes and go from there because it just makes negotiating easier. With a robot like Uber, what are you going to do? Hi, robot. Are you having a good day today? Yeah, no. Do I know brokers that work with new authorities? As far as I know, TQL still does. But other than that, I'm not sure. I think it would help you to look at smaller brokers, not the big guys, but the small guys. Um, I'm sorry if I skip your question. I'm just going to, since I have about 5 minutes left, I'm just going to answer things that are different than the other question, like nothing similar to what I already answered. And this will be uploaded later on. Um, duh, 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 duh. Can you elaborate on blocking TQL? I've worked with them on a lot of loads, just want to know what to watch out for. So TQL was one of those, they were the first broker who gave us our first load. We did an amazing job for them. We had an incredible reputation in their system. You know how they have their system. We we did everything correctly and we worked with them for years. And then it started getting really annoying with them because they would not give the correct details about loads. There were more cancellations happening. But when it came to stopping work with them, it was because they lied about the pickup and the delivery on one load that cost us 3 days, lost days. And they cut off communication. That they never paid us layover, and they kind of pretended like we don't exist. And after that, I was like, no, this is not someone you build a relationship with, because that's what I tried to do. I tried to build a relationship with TQL simply because I know they have their own database. And I realized that relationship doesn't matter. They're going to treat you the way they treat you depending on the market situation. And I don't, yeah. I'm a very, very big believer in what my father has taught me in business. You can lie only once and then it's done. Yeah. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Sorry, guys. I'm going to skip a little bit. Hi, I work with RXO carrier sales. Hi, Samuel. We've actually hauled a couple of loads with RXO. I don't even remember when. That was a while ago. I'll be honest, that was a while ago. Um, uh, Sorry, guys. I'm just looking for. Never hurts to ask. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I skip? Oh, you asked if I'm single. No, I'm not single. I'm not signal. I'm not single. I'm married with 2 kids. Um, do I need to be enrolled in a drug consortium as soon as I get a DOT number, even though I'm currently still leased with a carrier? You should be. If you're leased with a carrier, you should be in their drug consortium, but you have to do a pre-employment drug test. If you're getting your own MC, you do need to be enrolled and you have to get a pre-employment drug test, even if you are the owner of your own company and your own MC. So yes, you do have to be enrolled in a drug consortium. Uh, I'm the same little controller workaholic. In fact, my husband is driving and I'm going to be the dispatcher. Wish us luck. We open an MC thanks to your videos. Yay! I wish you luck. Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with the workaholic. I love my work. I love it. It's a love-hate relationship. Okay, it's a love-hate relationship, but yeah. um, duh, 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 duh. Sorry, guys. I feel bad skipping questions, but what insurance accepts new company numbers but a seasoned CDL? Seasoned CDL is a big one. I think that will open up a lot of, I don't know from the top of my head. I think the new venture is less important than the CDL. So a lot of companies, it's not even yeah, I am not sure, but I think it's going to be easier for you to find insurance if you do have a seasoned CDL, even if you have new DOT and MC numbers. It's harder when you have new MC or DOT and a new CDL because CDL is what they look at when they consider risk. Да-да. Привет, Мирандочка, привет. I hope you're having a great day. Okay. Um, okay. I was merciless with TQL during the Blitz. Yeah, I didn't talk to them at all. I wasn't merciless with the brokers, to be honest. I don't see, I'm, I understand people who would just, and a lot of brokers did complain about that on the Reddit forum. It was funny to see. But yeah, I understand people who would be. It's been 3 years of hell for truckers and the carrier side. I personally wasn't because I mean the loads were where we were in the second half, the loads were paying pretty well. And yeah. The US is not ready for autonomous vehicles. In order for autonomous vehicles to really work, we would need to rebuild our roads and implement sensors and so on. Yeah, 100%. It's not ready. I agree with you. Absolutely. Okay, let's do another 5 questions. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes. So, let me find some that are where am I? Sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time today with the comments. Um, okay, I answered that one. Du-du-du-du-du-du. Okay, I just like this question. Is seasoned CDL with salt and pepper and a little paprika? Don't forget the cayenne pepper. I love that. What is a good company insurance? I use Benchmark. I really like them. Benchmark is pretty great. Yeah. Uh, okay, this is a good one. Hello, can you add power only market statistics and predictions on your research and vlog? Thank you. I would love to. There isn't enough data there for power only. What I see on my side is there is like, for example, I'll give you an example. If I look at the truck stop data, There is reefer, dry van, flatbed, and then specialized. And when I called them and asked what is specialized, they said everything else that is not a reefer, dry van, or flatbed. They don't have the data specific to specialized, whether it's power only or tanker or hot shot or sprinter, whatever it is. So it's very hard to kind of find that data and pull it out. But if I do, I would love to add that to my market updates. Yeah. I enjoyed your live stream, hopefully exposing these broke companies that have trashy equipment. I'm sick of looking at them. They don't even wash them or polish them. Uh, Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a safety thing. And again, I think that the reason there was more capacity exiting, well, more capacity exiting this Blitz week was because people don't have money to upkeep their equipment. People were scared of the English proficiency, and there was that focus on hours of service. Yeah, perfect storm. Uh, Just out of curiosity, why do you use sonar versus DAT market conditions? I actually don't use sonar as much anymore. The only thing I use it for is for the rejections, general volumes, and the capacity. I do look at DAT market conditions, but I prefer to use truck stop, and then I compare to DAT. Yeah, I use a lot of different sources. My favorite is FTR Intel. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Do you have a recommendation for a digital document management system? Yes, I use, well, it doesn't manage the documents for you, but it's just a cloud system, Dropbox. I use it. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. Oh my goodness, you caught me right before I'm about to leave, Brian. How happy are you about I think it's important. I think it's important to enforce English proficiency. The question is to what degree, right? I'm very curious to see what that entails. Yeah. I've been driving for 43 years and I have never seen the industry in such a shamble. Yeah. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. It's been tough. It's been tough. Yeah, it's getting difficult. But Blitz week for us was the second half was pretty okay, I have to say. Thank you so much. You should write to Congress and make them pass a new law. If a carrier doesn't put the correct info in a listing, us carriers should get paid full rate. Love it. Uh, that's funny. Anyway, guys, I do apologize that I couldn't answer all of your questions. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday and a good start to your Monday. And hopefully next week is better than the week before. That's all we can hope for, right? That it gets better or the same, that it does not get worse. Anyway, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.